cannot believe that this has actually happened, that his life has been taken. He is a young father. As you were discussing with Hogan Gidley, they were all so impressed and energized by him, and so they are just in a state of shock. And now at the White House, and of course, the reaction is bipartisan, Tom. Let me read you some of what we're hearing from Gabby Giffords, of course, a victim of political violence herself, writing, "The murder of Charlie Kirk breaks my heart. My deepest sympathies are with his wife, 2 young children, and friends. Democratic societies will always have political disagreements, but we must never allow America to become a country that confronts those disagreements with violence. Attacks against political or ideological opponents are cowardly and un-American and must be universally condemned." And Tom, that's basically the sentiment that we are hearing from Democrats and Republicans. House Speaker Mike Johnson saying simply, this has to end, calling for a moment of silence. The question, though, and you were discussing this with Kelly O'Donnell earlier, is what happens now? What can lawmakers do? What can we all do as a society to prevent these acts of political violence? Because they are increasing. The fact that you had these assassination attempts against President Trump when he was running for office, the fact that you have these assassinations of lawmakers in Minnesota has just rocked the political world. And what we are hearing is enough is enough. And you can see the grief, you can see the anguish in the face of these lawmakers. But the question, what comes next? What will they do about it? What this country is? But I do think that that's where the conversation is going to go next.
Kristen, it also sort of changes how politics and people like Charlie Kirk will share their message. Yes, there is social media. Yes, there are the airwaves. You can broadcast whatever you want these days. But part of politics is being able to press the flesh, being able to see into someone's eyes, being able to hear them up close. That's what campaigns are really all about. It's one of the strengths many people will say that President Trump had, right? In all 3 of his campaigns, he was out there campaigning a lot. And one of Charlie Kirk's strengths to his supporters was that he would go out there, he would debate anyone, but he would take the message across college campuses all over America. And the thing I keep coming back to is that if somebody like Charlie Kirk, who again had a huge platform but never ran for office, he wasn't elected, if he could become the target of some sick, deranged individual, right? What does that say about everybody else out there that is working in politics right now, that is trying to do something, that is trying to make a change? And how will this change the way people campaign or speak in public?
Well, Tom, it could have a real chilling effect. And I think you bring up a critical point, which is that as you were speaking with the couple earlier there who were at the rally, who witnessed this horrific incident, he did not have a bulletproof glass in front of him. Will that change? Remember, that did change for President Trump when he was campaigning in this last cycle after the assassination attempts against him. So security will undoubtedly be in focus. But you're right, this is a hallmark of our democracy. The ability to debate, to have these of it. That's why he was someone who was respected by Democrats and Republicans. Tom, you had Governor Gavin Newsom appear on his podcast. And so the question becomes, how can these political events move forward in a more secure, safer way? And there you see the flag lowered at half-staff at the White House, a really somber day in Washington and Utah and all across the country, Tom.
Yeah, the president ordering that right there. You can see the flag at half-staff. We also have a new statement from Turning Point USA. I want to put it up on the screen for our viewers here. It reads, "It is with a heavy heart that we confirm that Charles James Kirk has been murdered by a gunshot that took place during Turning Point USA's The American Comeback Tour campus event at Utah Valley University on September 10th, 2025. May he be received into the merciful arms of our loving Savior who suffered and died for Charlie. We ask that everyone keep his family and loved ones in your prayers. We ask that you please respect their privacy and dignity in this time." A very powerful statement there from Turning Point. What we know and what we don't know. Initially, there was a suspect in custody. Then the school came back and said, no, we don't have a suspect in custody, but we think the shot came from 200 yards away, which is a good distance. There were thousands of people in the crowd, and they identified the building in the back where they think the shot came from. What else do we know, Tom?
It is a good distance, Tom, but as our colleague Jim Kavanaugh pointed out, I think very accurately so, for somebody who has even just a basic understanding of a semi-automatic rifle, this would not have been a particularly difficult shot to make, and it underscores obviously the tragedy of it, obviously